Fear Street fans have waited patiently for more blood, more mystery, and more twisted killers since the 2021 trilogy wrapped up, and now, 4 years later, we've got Fear Street: Prom Queen, a standalone installment set in the cursed town of Shadyside. It's 1988, and the prom is supposed to be the highlight of senior year. But in true Fear Street fashion, a night of glamour and high school dreams turns into a night of bloody horror. At the center of it all is Lorie Granger, a quiet, driven girl with a complicated past and a burning need to prove herself. She's running for prom queen against Tiffany Falconer, the classic queen bee archetype, with a mean streak and a posse to match. Lorie's path to prom glory is already tense, but when fellow candidates start turning up dead, it becomes clear someone is killing the competition, literally. A masked killer in a red raincoat begins a killing spree targeting prom queen candidates. What starts as slasher horror quickly evolves into something more layered. The deaths are brutal, the suspense unrelenting, and the twist, one of the best Fear Street has pulled so far. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Let's break down the ending, reveal who the killer or killers are, explore their motives, unpack the deaths, and connect all the twisted dots, including how Prom Queen ties back into the original Fear Street trilogy. The killer's identity and motivation. At first, the film seems to play it straight, a single masked killer hunting prom queen hopefuls. But this is Fear Street. Nothing is that simple. The final act drops a bombshell. There isn't just one killer. The reveal draws clear inspiration from Scream 6 by showing that all three members of the Falconer family are involved in the murders. Dan and Nancy Falconer, Tiffany's seemingly upstanding parents, are the masterminds behind the bloodshed. Dan and Nancy take turns under the mask, carrying out a meticulously planned massacre to secure their daughter's win. Their motive? Pride, legacy, and a twisted sense of justice. Dan's focus is entirely on ensuring Tiffany is crowned prom queen, but Nancy, her motivation runs far deeper. Nancy harbors a decades-old grudge against the Granger family. She believes the Grangers stole everything from them: status, love, and recognition. This resentment spirals into full-blown rage, leading her to orchestrate the killings. Nancy isn't just helping her daughter win a crown, she's settling a personal vendetta. As for Tiffany, she's a wild card. She's not responsible for the murders that take place during prom since she's in the gym with her peers. But when she loses the crown to Lorie, her true colors come out. She lures Lorie to the Falconer house under false pretenses and attempts to murder her in cold blood. Her justification: she believes she's the rightful queen, that Lorie stole not just the crown, but Tyler, her ex-boyfriend. It's clear Tiffany has been warped by growing up with murderers for parents. For her, violence is just another solution. Who dies and who survives? Like the rest of the Fear Street saga, Prom Queen doesn't hold back when it comes to its body count. It's shockingly violent, and no one is safe. By the time the credits roll, nearly every prom queen candidate has been killed. Lorie is the only survivor among them. The deaths aren't just for shock value. They reinforce the high stakes and the danger lurking behind high school pageantry. In total, 12 to 14 people die over the course of the film. The exact number depends on whether the principal succumbs to his wounds at the hospital. Though he's still alive when the ambulance arrives, his injuries are so severe that the film effectively counts him among the dead. Among the victims are several named students, teachers like Mr. Stokeland and Nancy herself. Tiffany nearly joins the list when Lorie fights back in their final confrontation. The two confirmed survivors: Lorie and her best friend Megan. Megan is a horror movie buff who sees the pattern before anyone else does. But unlike most genre-savvy characters, her knowledge doesn't save her. Lorie does. It's a nice twist that subverts expectations while reinforcing their bond. Lorie Granger, the final girl. Throughout the film, Lorie transforms from quiet outsider to empowered survivor. She's the classic Fear Street final girl, underestimated, emotionally scarred, but incredibly resilient. From the opening scenes, Lorie struggles with the weight of her family's past. Her mother, Rosemary, was accused of murdering her father nearly 19 years ago. That accusation has defined Lorie's life in Shadyside. She spent years trying to prove that her family isn't cursed or evil. That trauma is what fuels her perfectionism. She runs for prom queen, not out of vanity, but from a need to reclaim her family's name and forge her own identity. And when the blood starts to flow, Lorie doesn't crumble. She adapts, survives, and ultimately triumphs. By the end of the film, when she finally says, "I'm Lorie fucking Granger," it's more than a line. It's a declaration. She accepts her strength, her past, and her survival.
Snap.
The truth about Lorie's father. Looming over the entire movie is the mystery of Lorie's father's death. Shadyside folklore claims that Rosemary Granger murdered him after he used her and left her pregnant. The story was simple. Angry teen girl slits her boyfriend's throat by the river. But Lorie has always believed her mother is innocent. And she was right. In the climax, Nancy Falconer confesses to the murder. She was dating Lorie's dad before Rosemary. When he chose Rosemary instead, Nancy's jealousy exploded into violence. She murdered him and then framed Rosemary for the crime. This revelation ties directly into Nancy's vendetta. Her hatred of the Grangers started long before prom. It started with a heartbreak and a murder. By the end, we realize Nancy's been orchestrating death and destruction in Shadyside for almost 2 decades. The mid-credits scene and the witch's mark. The film ends with Lorie's survival and the town reeling from yet another massacre. But true Fear Street fans know the story doesn't stop there. In the mid-credits scene, Nancy's body lies lifeless on the floor. Her blood begins to pool and forms a very familiar shape. The witch's mark, also known as the devil's mark, emerges in the blood. This symbol was a major piece of the original trilogy, tied to the good family's deal with the devil. So what does it mean here? The mark's appearance suggests that Nancy may have been a sacrificial pawn of the good family. Remember, the goods orchestrated decades of Shadyside bloodshed by sacrificing citizens to the devil. Nancy may have been one such sacrifice, triggered before 1978, given the timeline of Lorie's father's death. It's a chilling implication. It suggests that Nancy's violence might not have been entirely her own, that the evil that haunts Shadyside still festers, infecting generation after generation. Other connections to the Fear Street trilogy. Though Prom Queen stands on its own, it does include a few nods to longtime fans. Early in the film, Lorie walks past a Camp Nightwing poster, triggering a quick flashback to the 1978 massacre. It's a blink and you'll miss it connection, but it helps ground the movie in the wider Fear Street universe. Later, when the first responders arrive at the blood-soaked prom scene, one of them says, "This is worse than 78. That single line ties the movie directly to the trilogy's events without making it dependent on them. There are no returning characters from the original trilogy, but the energy, tone, and sense of supernatural dread remain fully intact.
Stolen glances.
Will there be more Fear Street movies? If Fear Street, Prom Queen left you hungry for more Shadyside chaos, you're in luck. In January 2025, R.L. Stine confirmed that 3 more Fear Street movies are already in development. No titles or plot details yet, but considering the vast number of Fear Street books, over 100, there's no shortage of terrifying material to adapt. While these upcoming films likely won't continue Lorie Granger's story, Prom Queen proves that Fear Street can thrive beyond a single trilogy. It's a universe now, one that spans decades, characters, and killers. The hope is that Netflix and the creative team behind these films continue to give them the attention and respect they deserve. If Prom Queen is any indication, Fear Street is far from over. In fact, it might just be getting started.
Stay back! Okay, easy now.
Our Nerdy Thoughts Fear Street. Prom Queen is a blood-drenched return to Shadyside, offering clever twists, brutal kills, and a surprisingly emotional core. By blending old-school slasher vibes with a modern understanding of trauma, identity, and vengeance, it carves out a unique space in the Fear Street saga. The killers aren't just faceless monsters, they're a family consumed by pride and pain. The final girl isn't just a survivor, she's a young woman reclaiming her story. And the connections to the trilogy remind us that evil never really dies in Shadyside. The crown might have been the goal, but survival, that's the real prize. And Lorie Granger earned it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Fear Street Prom Queen, hit that like button. Subscribe for more horror deep dives, and let us know in the comments, Who do you think the next Fear Street killer will be? Until next time, stay out of Shadyside, if you can.
Lorie Granger!
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.